Now I'm allowing wisdom to speak through me. Cosmic knowledge of existence. What is existence? It's a dream. It's not real. It's unreality. The reason why so many of us get caught up in this dream is because there's so much detail in everything. We can go as deep as we want to anything. It's like we can go into the tiniest things, bring our attention there, bring our focus there. Where we bring our focus is where we bring our consciousness, what we experience. For me, I feel my natural state is to be in this expanded state of being. I was just walking outside. I feel like I am walking on my own hand. I feel like the whole universe is my own hand. I mean, is me. Is in the universal mind. I feel that everything is imagination. Everything is within consciousness. Everything, everywhere, is within consciousness. Within the universal mind. Within God's imagination, someone could say. So yeah, this is a dream, because none of this is actually real. I mean, sure it is from the dream's perspective. I literally felt and feel myself in this awe. I felt like I'm there, like I have eyes everywhere, and I'm looking down at this tiny being, human being, and it feels so unbelievable to experience or to see through her eyes, to feel her body. I truly have this anchor point of my consciousness in this being. I see this reality through this being as well. I see it through all, but I can also see it through her. And then I realized that I'm seeing it through everyone, everywhere. All living beings are like anchor points of consciousness. All living beings are within consciousness, like separate units of consciousness within consciousness. Because nothing is outside of consciousness. I mean, how could it be? I feel that my biological computer, this body, this super intelligent form of existence is my gateway to this dimension, my gateway to experiencing this frame of consciousness. Because for me, what dimensions are frames of perception. This third dimension is like one octave within which we are experiencing this. We can experience different vibrational realities even within this dimension. Yeah, you can be in hell, you can be in heaven, in 3D, in this world, physical world. Nothing is truly physical, but it's just very, very dense energy, which we perceive as physical through these bodies, through these vessels, which are all just truly energy. Everything is truly energy, but we're perceiving it, or some of it, as solid matter. It's not solid. Nothing is truly solid. Everything is like malleable and flowing, vibrating. I see it when I get high enough. I see vibration everywhere. I was standing in the forest. I'm just standing. And my gaze goes so deep. There is no this ego filter. None of that. There is no veil. There is no veil. When I look deep, I start to see this vibration everywhere. I feel like I'm within a painting. I'm walking there. I'm a small being. I felt so insanely small, this human body. Like, I think the reason why things feel big is when we look at it from here and we have a lot of stuff around us. Like, within the house, it's harder to feel this expansion because you're not seeing as much with your physical eyes. You're just seeing stuff that's not as vast. You're seeing small things around you, and then it's like you are big, but you are super small. Take your consciousness to the atmosphere, like up there, troposphere, and look down at the earth. I did that the other night. I was on a train travel. I went outside the earth area. I went so far to this kind of meeting point where there were beings from all over the universe. From all over the universe. I was there. It wasn't necessarily a planet, or it may have been near planet. It was very far from Earth. I remember that no one used words. Whenever I am in that dimension, it's no need to use words. Even in this dimension, it feels weird to use words sometimes. It's just coming out of my mouth, but I'm transferring vibrations for you. It was like a space station kind of place. And I felt so welcome. It was so familiar. I was accessing so much knowledge. I was accessing so much more than I'm able to perceive and grasp here. And I'm not able to remember everything of that trip, but I remember that it was very meaningful. How wise I was, because here, when you are within this frame of experience, when you are within when you are having a human experience, it's no use to access as much as I did in that other dimension, because it all depends on where you're looking at this. If this is 3D, then this is the astral plane, like another whole octave, and then there are like whatever higher planes. So many higher planes that are just kind of different octaves. At that space station where I was, at that meeting point, I didn't feel like Tiina. I wasn't Tiina in the same way. But I was close to her. Everything is so close. You're always so close. Nothing is far, everything is close. Huh? Yeah. I remember then we all just knew. There were more of us from Earth, like a few people. And all of us knew that now it's time to go back. And then there was this spaceship that we got in. That took us through the universe. I mean, it was like this. I mean, it didn't take time, really. And I don't remember ever looking down at the Earth as from such a high perspective. Like we're super much higher than planes fly, super much higher. Like we're at the top of all this atmosphere. And I see it all, and I feel this little pull of sadness that we're going back there, because it feels like such an immature place. For me, it's very, very weird to be in this dimension. Again, the more I access this cosmic knowledge of my higher self, the more, like, you know, there is no more blockages. It's like I am embodying my higher self. I'm expressing my soul. It feels harder to play roleplay when you are not really in your ego. Who plays? Yesterday I told to my dear friend about how these days my existence goes like when it used to go like. So I'm going to the depths and I'm going to the highs and I'm going to the depths, and to me the depths these days are just, you know, getting into this nothingness, getting into this, like, ceasing to exist, I mean, losing it all, and then rising into oneness and being it all, everywhere. And before, I feel like this is like the comfort zone, this is like where the Matrix tries to get you, when you are just experiencing a very limited experience, like your life is okay all the time. It's about where you take your focus, you know? If you take your focus only to these mundane things, these very concrete things that look big to you, you won't experience this expansion in you, because your focus is there. Like, you know, when you look at something, I don't have anything else on this, but if I look at it from here, it's super big, but if I look at it from there, like, well, it's small. That's the thing. It depends on how you're looking at your human being. If you're looking at it from, you know, very close by, of course, you don't see as much. But when you take your consciousness up there, you see it all and you release all suffering, because there is no more identification. I feel like all suffering comes from a lack of consciousness, like from a limited state of consciousness. When you expand your state of consciousness, you don't suffer. You're fine. You're blissful. You are a divine being. You are a divine being. You're always a divine being. Even in this human form, you're a divine being. And every time I talk to my star friends, they're laughing when I mean, if I cry about any human stuff, they laugh at it, because they're like, how can you take it so seriously? Exactly, why would we ever take this so seriously? This is so... this is a cosmic joke. I've said that before, but when you get into that higher perspective and you're like so relieved and you feel so light and you're like, you're looking at this tiny being here, that's your anchor point, you know, this is my anchor point for my consciousness. You don't identify with any pain anymore, because you see it from up above. Just thinking how dirty it is to be a human. And by that I mean, like, we are, like, as we are in these biological computers, it means certain things. Like, we actually have like blood and organs within us. I was just looking at my organs, like I was taking my consciousness, like looking at my different organs. I was seeing my lungs, I saw how they looked. I was seeing my intestines. I was seeing like it all from inside, and and that's so tripping when you realize that yes, this truly is a physical being that you are experiencing through. And I often forget that when I'm flying high, I am so blissful and divine. And then I get back to, I mean, I can't believe that, oh, I still have to go to the toilet, I still have to consume stuff sometimes, I still have to do like these things that this biological computer needs. Maintenance. But it's so funny because it's this kind of maintenance. And it's so cool to embody this divinity even in this type of a bodily form, like this. But I mean, to be honest, again, sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, who is she? One morning I woke up and I just repeated for a few times, Tiina, Tiina, Tiina. And I had no like sense of familiarity with that name. I just looked at it and I sensed the vibration, and then I looked at this being. I was looking at her, I was looking at her lifespan, I was looking at whatever she's been through in her life, what she's going through right now, what she's thinking of, whatever. I was looking at it, and then shock, I am that being. I am in that body. It is useful to bring your consciousness to a little bit more grounded state where you look at when you actually can function in this world and grasp this world and see and understand this world. I know that there truly is no limit to how high I can actually expand, but the thing is, the higher I go, the more contrast I experience with this world, and it feels more unbearable to be here. And to me, what I truly would want is to be in the highest vibrations and bring them on earth, and that's what I feel is my calling. But when you are so incredibly high, you also become so incredibly sensitive. I mean, it's a good thing, it's a strength, but it also makes it harder to be here in this world, be amongst with some people or in the society. But yeah, I talked about grounding before, and that is really important because that anchors you here. And I mean, it is nice to fly in other dimensions as well, and I truly believe and think that we can, you know, master our multidimensionality in the way that we can be here when we want to, and we can go into other planes of existence as well, and we can just, even by being, when we are here, we can like access the other dimensions because we're open, we are multidimensional, we all have the pineal gland, we have our access, and we can learn to keep all that open. But it's also nice to experience contrast, because I would again encourage you to enjoy all these parts of this human experience. This is a very special time you have here. When you leave your body for good, you won't be able to experience the same things again. So while you're here, enjoy this dream, enjoy all the shades of this dream. I feel these days I truly enjoy all, for example, all emotional states. I love them. I feel like my soul is enjoying even sadness or depression or any of that. It's all so damn human, part of this human experience. And when we learn to appreciate all that, it becomes enjoyable to be here, flowing with the waves of life. When you are in a high enough state of consciousness, you won't suffer anymore, but you will still be experiencing different emotional states because it's part of being a human. And we shouldn't ever avoid certain emotional states. Instead, we should like listen to them. They tell us how close we are to our true nature, or how far we are from our true nature. And yeah, it's just our emotional states tell us where we are at. It's like a guidance system that shows us where we are, and if we're suppressing our emotions, we're just taking ourselves further from ourselves. And it's no use really if you wanna stay woke here. But I mean, you will always wake up again. If you ever fall asleep, remember that you will always wake up again, and it's not that serious. For me, I realized that one fear I had was that I would feel unconscious again. But then I realized that, but it doesn't really even matter, because I will always find myself again, whether it's now or after 10 years, I will always find myself again, no matter what. I cannot ever truly lose myself. You can never truly hurt here. You can never truly lose yourself. You're always you. And when you realize that, there is no worries, and then when there is no worries, I mean, you won't get lost anyway. You can trust yourself when you are in that higher awareness, which is a natural state of being when there is no blockages, when there is nothing blocking that flow, when there's nothing distancing you from you. You access this true higher consciousness, you access yourself. If you don't block you from you, you are you. I mean, you can't take you away from you. You can only hide from yourself. I mean, you cannot hide forever. You can experience it in order to experience contrast, in order to experience separation and pain and all that suffering, and it just goes as long as it needs to. Like, usually we are woken up by something traumatic, or when we suffer so badly that we no longer can take it, then we're forced to wake up. For me, I just realized that so many times in my life there are things that have forced me to wake up. If I ever fall even a little bit, more asleep, then boom, it comes. Something comes that I just cannot stand anymore, and I'm on the edge of quitting until I remember again, and then there is no more suffering. But I mean, I'm forced to remember. I can't stay asleep for even if I would fall asleep for a day, it would feel wrong. And it would certainly mean that death or waking up. I asked my higher self about this. Why am I first to experience a contrast? Well, in order to understand humans, in order to understand other people, in order to be able to help them. If I never personally experienced pain and suffering and a lot of awful stuff, I wouldn't be able to relate to people, and I know that already very well, that when I'm super high, I cannot really relate to humans because it's so distant in that state. But because in this incarnation I have chosen to experience certain experiences that have showed me this other side, this separation, this pain, all this state of, unconsciousness, now I'm able to understand much better. I'm able to understand. And it's all meant to. And again, it doesn't truly matter. I know it's not fun to suffer, but I mean, from a higher perspective, it's not a bad thing. It's all okay. It's all okay. You're learning. You're expanding. Can a dream truly hurt you? The moment you wake up from it, it's just a dream. And we are like a tiny... This is like a dream in our higher self's mind as well. Or I feel like because this is so small, tiny little experience. We're on a playground on Earth in this third dimension, and when we wake up from this dream, we are in a more real state than when we are in this dream. But sure, in this dream this feels real because this is all we're perceiving. I mean, it's not all we're perceiving if you choose to perceive more, but I really ask you to go somewhere super high, like a high building or observation tower or something. Go up there and look down at the earth. Just be there and look down at the tiny people. You were one of them. I mean, you are one of them in this lifetime, but it's just this lifetime. It depends on the perspective again. Like, sure, I am the movie. I am it all. You are it all. We are it all. From that super wide perspective of God. We can shift our perspectives. We truly can. And I mean, like I talked about how this dream feels much more unreal when you wake up on the other side. So as well, when we raise our state of consciousness and access higher perspectives, they feel much more real than this one. It's just a tiny game for those higher aspects, and you can access those higher aspects of you. You can look down at your being from that higher perspective, and you can see, you can release all that suffering. Just remember that you're truly the writer. You're truly writing your story every moment. No victim, you're no victim unless you pick that perspective in which state you are creating that experience, but you're still the creator. You're always the creator. Even if you choose the victim state of consciousness, you're still the creator. It's okay, but it's all okay. This is human experience. You are having a human experience. We are having a human experience. Can you truly believe that? Can you truly believe in this dream? Can you ever truly believe in a dream? Is this real? Is this unreality? Unreality unraveling in front of my eyes. Unreality unraveling in front of your eyes. Who are you? What are you? Where are you? What is this? You got the answers. Namaste.